In the beginning, the world was perfect. Humanity walked with God in the cool of the day. Creation was whole, a seamless tapestry of light, life, and love. But a choice was made. A shadow fell. Sin entered the garden, and with it, a fracture in the perfect communion between Creator and creation. Trust was broken. The harmony was shattered. A deep and pervasive darkness began to fall over the earth, and with it, a chilling sense of despair. Hope, it seemed, was lost forever. The connection was severed, and humanity was cast out, left to wander in a world that was suddenly harsh and unforgiving. The echoes of what was lost reverberated through the silence, a painful reminder of a paradise left behind. It was a moment of profound tragedy, a great fall from which there seemed no recovery. The future looked bleak, a long road stretching into an unknown and frightening twilight. But God did not abandon humanity. Even in the face of rebellion, his heart remained tethered to his creation. Even in the midst of judgment, a new and unexpected sound emerged, the sound of hope. In the deepest darkness, God spoke a promise, a declaration of war against the very evil that had caused the fracture. He said to the serpent, the deceiver, "I will put enmity between you and the woman, and between your offspring and hers. He will crush your head, and you will strike his heel." This was it. The first whisper of the gospel, the proto-evangelium, a promise that a Savior would come. A descendant of the woman, a human child, would one day rise to deliver a fatal blow to the enemy. It was a declaration that evil would not have the final say. A seed of hope was planted in the soil of despair, a promise that a rescuer was on his way. Centuries began to pass. The world waited, groaning under the weight of its brokenness. Generations were born and returned to dust. Kings ruled with iron fists. Great empires rose, their banners unfurling across the known world, only to crumble and fall, their grand cities reclaimed by the sand. Through it all, the people of God cried out, their voices rising in a chorus of longing for deliverance, for the fulfillment of that ancient promise. And God was not silent. He continued to speak, weaving the thread of his promise through the tapestry of human history. Through the prophet Isaiah, he painted a picture of the impossible. The virgin will conceive and give birth to a son, and they will call him Emmanuel, which means God with us. God himself would come. Through the prophet Micah, he specified the location, a detail so precise it was almost unbelievable. "But you, Bethlehem Ephratah, though you are small among the clans of Judah, out of you will come for me one who will be ruler over Israel." The promise was not just a fading echo. It was alive, growing clearer and more detailed with each passing generation. By the time the Roman eagle cast its shadow over Judea, the world was a weary place. For Israel, the chosen people, the waiting had become almost unbearable. 400 long years of silence had passed. No prophet's voice thundered from the wilderness. No miraculous sign split the heavens. No clear, audible voice from heaven broke the suffocating quiet. It felt as though God had forgotten his people, forgotten his promise. The darkness seemed to be winning. The weight of Roman oppression was heavy, taxes were crushing, and spiritual hope was at an all-time low. People went about their daily lives under a gray sky, their hearts longing for a sign, a word, anything, but heaven was not silent. It was simply preparing. In the unseen realm, the final pieces of a divine plan, set in motion since the beginning of time, were clicking into place. The silence was not an absence of God's activity, but the deep, quiet breath before the most profound declaration in human history. The promise had a destination. It had a time, a place, an address. The long-awaited fulfillment would not arrive in the gleaming marble halls of Rome, nor in the opulent, politically charged temple courts of Jerusalem. The King of the universe was not coming to a palace. The Savior of the world would not be found on a throne. The camera of history was zooming in past the great centers of power, over the rolling hills of Judea, toward a small, seemingly insignificant town, Bethlehem, a name whispered by prophets centuries before. A humble town, a place of shepherds and farmers, glowing softly in the quiet of the night. Because this is how our God works. He does his greatest, most world-changing work in the humblest of places, through the most unexpected of means. The stage was set not for a show of power, but for a revolution of love. And it would all begin here, in the little town of Bethlehem,